At the close of 2016, the House of Lords convened an inquiry specifically into how exiting the European Union will impact Gibraltar. The Select Committee of the House of Commons has a far wider remit: to examine the expenditure, admin and policy of the UK when leaving the EU. And on this occasion, they've invited the government of Gibraltar to give evidence.
Once the referendum result was declared, and we're very well aware of how the people of Gibraltar voted, Spain said, joint sovereignty. Can you just tell us what the reaction was in Gibraltar to that announcement?
The people of Gibraltar were voting because we were very clear that the minute the result came in, if it was to leave, Spain would be putting the issue of Gibraltar's sovereignty on the table.
There wasn't much in the 2-hour session which would come as a surprise. A lot of what the committee wanted to know was purely functional. How many cross-border workers are there? How do people cross the border? And how does immigration work? But there were opportunities here for the Chief Minister to put across the more sentimental elements of what it means to be a British Gibraltarian. Our relationships with friends and family on the other side of the border, and the way we feel about the elements of our Spanish heritage. He said he was very proud of the Spanish blood that runs in his veins, but emphasized that Gibraltar will pay any price, bear any burden, and meet any hardship to ensure a British future post-Brexit.
My maternal grandmother was Spanish, and she's the only one of my grandparents that I knew. So anybody who thinks, to take the converse point, that we hate the Spanish, doesn't understand the makeup of the Gibraltarian. But when you're born something, that's what you are. When you look at that context and that makeup, it's impossible to be anything other than what you are. You ask any British citizen today of a different ethnic origin who might not look like what a British citizen we might imagine might have looked like in the days of empire, going around the world conquering for Britain. And they will tell you passionately that they are British. So why should we change? We are born British. That rock is red, white and blue for us. There is nothing else that we have known. My blood is red, but I'm red, white and blue inside out. And so is that rock, and we will never, ever countenance changing that.
Mr. Picardo said he was heartened to hear that Gibraltar won't be dragged into arrangements to preserve the UK's membership of the customs union. And on the question of the single market, he said it would be a hugely complicated exercise to retain Gibraltar's passporting rights into Europe, but stressed that 90% of financial services were sold into the UK market.
If we are therefore able, through what is in the bilateral gift of Gibraltar and the United Kingdom, to preserve 90% of our business, then we're in a much better place than we might have been were that not assured by the United Kingdom, as it was not previously but is now. And I hope a free trade agreement between us will be able to preserve all the areas of the sale of services that we would have available to us today if we were both parts of the European Union.
The Chief Minister said he'd given up hoping for Spanish goodwill, but Gibraltar would continue acting in good faith and being an engine of growth for the mutual benefit of people on both sides of the border.